Everybody, welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. My name is DJ Wooldridge, and with me, as always, is Roxy Striar as we discuss WandaVision Episode 8, previously on. Wanda embarks on a troubling journey, revisiting her past for insight into her present and future. This episode was directed by Matt Shakman and written by Laura Donnie. Roxy, I'm so grateful that every week we do this show because I have so many things that I want to run by you to see your thoughts on, because I feel like it's strangely, as this show gives us more answers, I just end up with more questions like, what?
DJ, we're kind of becoming this dynamic duo here because I know that when I'm watching, like, I know I'm getting close with someone when I'm watching a show and all I'm thinking about is like, what's DJ thinking about this? What is DJ thinking about this? So I'm equally as excited. And I have some very broad questions for you, and then some more specific ones as well.
Well, let's just dive into it and see where it all lands, because I also, it's like there's bigger questions, but then also very specific ones. Let's go. We start the episode in Salem, Massachusetts, where we discover Agatha's origin.
I'm excited about the Massachusetts part.
So Agatha murders her mom, who was trying, in her defense, was also trying to murder her it was implied that Agatha had done some bad things, but we didn't see it. So maybe, innocent until proven guilty or whatever, allegedly.
I needed a little more there, but okay.
Yeah, I think I'm similar. Like, either give me a little bit more, or do we even need to have this? I don't know if this actually helps me contextualize who Agatha is at all.
I think just letting us know DGAF.
Yeah.
Like, if she don't care about her, she don't care about you.
Very true. Very true. When we get to the present, Agatha discusses her magic abilities and different spells and the work that goes involved, which I thought like aligned well with what we learned in Doctor Strange, and her kind of probing Wanda about the level of Wanda's abilities and how Wanda's so powerful. I did leave this scene. She talks about like coaxing Wanda and stuff like that. I did leave the scene, like, we ended last week with the very catchy, it was Agatha all along. And now I'm like, but was it though? Because it doesn't seem like it was actually.
So I know that we are not where I am right now, but I'm just going to ask my question anyway, because this leads right into it. What is the meat and potatoes of this show? Like, what? And I ask that, and I just want to preface this all with, I'm actually really liking this show. I think a lot of it doesn't fully make sense, and there are parts of it that I'm like, could we do that a little better? But I just want to be clear. I like this show, but we're talking about this show for 40 minutes every week. So I have questions when I really think about it.
Yes.
And so for this one, it's like Agatha all along, Agatha magic, Agatha don't know why or how this happened. Agatha controlled it, but Agatha has no knowledge. Agatha didn't control it. Like, I don't understand what, and because what we saw with Agatha with Vision that one time, where she just blatantly like pretends to be wrapped up in the world, but then isn't, I'm like, which things that she's saying are real and which things are manipulation? And so I don't know. Because I can't trust her. I don't mean as a character, because obviously we can't trust her, but as a plot device, I don't trust her.
Yeah.
Anytime she's there, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, because I agree. Because I kind of touched on this a little bit last episode, and now I feel even more so. This kind of all feels like a first draft, where they did the first draft and I'm like, good enough, and then we moved on. And it's like, wait, time out. Because it's like episode, what was it? 4, it was Wanda. Oh no, it was end of episode 3. It was like, it's all Wanda. And then in the last episode, it was Agatha. And then this episode was like, well, actually it was Wanda. And it's like, well, I think you need to, I don't think this is good mystery building. I feel like you're just lying to me. Like,
I think there's a lie still going on. What is good is that Catherine Hahn's an actual superstar. So she could be sitting there watching paint dry or filing her nails, and I would enjoy watching it. So casting wise, if you're gonna have a mystery show and parts of it are gonna be with a character that lies and then doesn't lie and then is all over the board, at least make her interesting, and she is. Yes. So even though I have all these questions, watching her, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm definitely enjoying myself.
Yeah, yeah. Catherine Hahn is great. She's fantastic in villainous roles. Obviously, she played the new version of Doctor Octopus in Spider-Verse. But also, even if you go back to like, I think my introduction to her was really Step Brothers. And even though she's not a villainous character, she's so chaotic that she really. Oh, and also in like Parks and Rec and stuff like that.
She wreaks havoc on every scene that she's ever in.
Yeah,
it's just like perfection.
So it's great casting her as a supervillain, if she even is a supervillain, because I know in the comics Agatha's not, and I really feel like they're playing up this like chaotic neutral aspect where she's trying to understand what's going on, and so that's why. So within the reality of the WandaVision show, she's quote unquote the bad guy because she's killing the dog and stuff like that. But then Wanda's the one that made it. Oh my god! Well, you know what? This leads into other questions that we will get into later because why we're in Westview at all, I find very dubious.
Did you just have to legitimately close your eyes for 30 seconds to try to figure that? That was amazing to watch.
Well, I'm trying to add it up.
You literally seeing the strings. Okay,
so wait, here we go. I'm like fucking Charlie Day and the fucking like here's what's going on. Anyway. So what Agatha does, I'm going to call her Agatha for the rest of it. She's not Agnes anymore. She's Agatha. She takes Wanda through her history. And this, I think, is a really good opportunity to kind of flesh out Wanda's backstory because she is not one of the characters. She doesn't have a standalone movie. She's not one of the characters that we've had a lot of time to fill in that backstory. So we start with her in Sokovia with her parents, revealed, unsurprisingly, that she grew up watching old sitcoms, including the iconic Walnut episode from Dick Van Dyke. I don't know about you, Roxy, I had a moment like, the Walnut episode. Like, it makes perfect sense in this show. This is what they would reference.
And that was cool.
That was really cool. Yeah. Then
good insight, Roxy. And that was cool. I just want you to know that I think that's cool.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it. I did find it a little bit weird that like there's a gun battle going outside and the mom like looks out the window and like, and then they go and it's like, okay, so I get what you're doing, that like this happens a lot in Sokovia
all the time, yeah.
But like I think even in countries that have regular violent insurrections, I think there would still be a like, oh well, we'd all be used to it, but the tradition wouldn't be we're watching a sitcom now, we all get under our beds because war is happening, and you'd be used to that, but you would still defend yourself in some way.
Nah.
So they watched the sitcom, and I will say I was surprised with the darker swerve that this is when the parents died. In hindsight, I shouldn't have been, because we know that's what happens. And in this moment, Agatha starts to hint at the fact that Wanda already had abilities. What did you think about this scene, Roxy, with young Wanda and young Pietro, which, by the way, I think we can now confirm they just couldn't get Aaron Taylor Johnson back. He didn't want to come back.
That's clearly what happened, right?
Yeah, that's 100% what happens. And I'm going to be honest, it makes the cameo less fun. Like,
do you think they're never going to address that?
I don't. I think that was it. I think Pietro was it, and we're just moving on, which is like, well, that's kind of a letdown.
Do you not even think we're seeing Evan Peters again?
I think we will because of the tease last week,
right?
Which, God bless you, I stayed through the credits this time because now I knew.
Oh, good.
But like,
and did you go back and watch it from last time?
Yes. Yeah, and so I think because of that, we'll see. I think he'll factor into the end game somehow. I think all the people that are speculating Mephisto, or I threw out the idea of Dormammu, I think that's. I would maybe not hold your breath for that at this point.
Yeah, I like when we see little kids that aren't annoying on TV.
Agreed.
So that was good. I like, also similar to you, DJ, I like getting more of the backstory. As I've told you many times, Wanda is my favorite character, and she's my favorite Avenger. So my one thing with this is that, like, I don't know that this episode made me. She already is my favorite. So for people who didn't like her, this might have made her more relatable, or they might have liked her more. I was using my imagination to backstory her for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so this didn't actually make me like her more. It didn't make me like her less, but it just kind of was like
neutral.
Thank you for kind of.
Yeah.
How about for you?
The reveal that Wanda already had abilities, I like the implications of, because maybe mutants. Also, and maybe it answers the question of why her abilities look similar to Agatha's, because Agatha wasn't exposed to the Mind Stone as far as we know, so it should be the nature of them theoretically should be different. Maybe this answers that, although again it creates more questions later, but we'll get to that in a minute. So then we move forward to Wanda when she's in control of Hydra. I liked that they tried to explain why, like, wait, your family was killed by terrorists essentially, but you joined this terrorist group, and she's like, we wanted to change the world. I'm like, okay, I mean, sure. I don't know if that tracks, but sure.
I actually appreciated that though, because I was like, you needed to address this a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know. So they tried, and she comes into contact with the Mind Stone. Obviously it's blue like it was when it was in the staff, but then it becomes yellow like we're used to seeing it. And she sees a vision of what appeared to me to be her and her. I honestly hate the term comics accurate I don't like talking about that stuff, but it does appear to be a vision of her in her comics accurate costume, which I think plays into.
Why do you hate that? It was her comics accurate.
I don't like the term comics accurate. Like, it just feels like a very, like, you see like a bunch of the.
Otherwise it's wrong.
The reply guys like, it's the comic accurate. It's not comic accurate. Like, who cares?
I actually don't think you probably don't dislike comics accurate. You probably dislike not comics accurate. Like when people say it's not comics accurate.
That's
like anytime somebody says it's comics accurate, it's like, oh, good. If somebody's like, it's not comics accurate, it's like,
calm down.
Oh, because other creators have other visions of these characters that have been around for a very long time. Interesting.
And then inevitably they'll throw up like a admittedly good piece of cosplay, but it's like, yeah, but that's not taking a picture in a piece of cosplay on convention room floor is different than being in a show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, whatever. I think people get too hung up on that, but cool here. Again, Agatha starts implying that the Mind Stone may have amplified her abilities. But at this point, I feel like it's a good time to be like, what is the nature of Wanda's abilities and her relationship to the Mind Stone?
Right.
Do you have I'm just going to go into it. This is, I'm getting ahead of myself, but whatever. Because, okay, she already had abilities. Fine. Again, implying mutants or whatever. Cool. Mm-hmm. But we've made a very big deal about the fact that Wanda's abilities come from the Mind Stone is why she was able to kill Vision in Infinity War, is implied to be, in this very same episode, is implied to be how she was able to bring Vision back, and is also the thing that they used to create alternate Vision, spoilers for later in the episode, at the end of the episode. So it's like, so wait, are her powers her own, or are they the Mind Stone?
What I'm gathering, and tell me if this is not what you're feeling, is amplification. Like, I think it's like an internet booster signal. Like when you have internet, but then you get that booster and then you have better internet.
Yeah.
Because you already had it, so I think that that's what's going on. So is that not what you think?
I think it is what's going on. I don't know if it explains to me why like when Vision's like, well, you can kill me because your power is the same as this thing in my head. It's like, well, then that's objectively not true at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I have a rechargeable battery, and I put it on a battery charger that charges the battery, but then I can't go to if those are AA's and I go to a 9-volt, I can't put the battery charger on the 9-volt and have it recharge it. Like, that's just not how things work.
Yeah, but unless you were like a scientist who could, I mean, I think that what she can do with her abilities is manipulate it to match or something.
Okay. To be fair, the scale of the ability, that's a good point.
I'm with you that it's not seamless. But it is happening. So I'm just like, I'm okay with this.
Well, now we cut to, I think, around Civil War time, at least I think probably post-Ultron, pre-Civil War, with Wanda and Vision, where they're like bonding over watching Malcolm Middle, which is a really lovely scene. Again, like I two things. Elizabeth Olsen is giving series best work in this episode.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
Really great.
She's the reason why I love Wanda, because she's so good.
And then
the
also
acting in the show is phenomenal across the board.
Absolutely. And then the scene with Vision in here too, and he talks about not having someone to love. It's really cool, and I do like the because I think we jumped them into a relationship it was between movies, so it felt quick. I think stuff like this really helps lay the groundwork. Like, okay, I can see why these two were a thing.
So that was one of my favorite scenes of the show so far.
Agreed.
Because I am, and I say this all the time, I'm such a lover of love, a shipper of ships. I'm sappy. And I thought that the show was really kind to that scene in the sense that they gave it so much room to breathe.
Yeah.
The scene was long.
Yeah.
And kind of quiet at times. A lot of just like them looking at each other, trying to not size each other up, but understand each other.
Yeah.
And I think because Elizabeth and Paul are both so talented that you could just feel it. You could feel why they were going to have an epic love story and like what was to come. And I don't know, there was just something about it that didn't feel like an MCU moment, and it didn't feel like a sitcom, and it didn't feel like a mystery show. It just kind of felt like its own standalone moment in time. I really loved that scene. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it makes me, I think it would have been cool to see more scenes like this. And maybe if there's I was going to say sequel, like a season 2 or whatever. I don't know what that would look like, although I do think we're starting to, and we'll get into more of this later, starting to see the seeds planted for a way that it could in some fashion continue. So then we move to roughly the present-ish, where Wanda does not take Vision's body. She goes to visit his corpse.
This was a little confusing to me, DJ.
Same.
Why is Wanda... Okay, I don't even know how to ask. You know what's confusing me? You don't even know how to ask what you mean.
Yes.
Why is Wanda so obsessed with talking to the front desk person? And
I was weirded out, not by that, but like by the whole front desk set. It's like, do you mean that I could just like walk into the CIA and there's a front desk dude that I could have a chat with?
And there's one person there, but then she's trying to get to where is he, right? Like, where is he? What room?
Yeah.
But then when he tells her, she doesn't need him to open any doors. She can go through. And then I remember like, oh, she has powers. She could have like scanned that whole place in 0.2 seconds. Why is she? It seems like she's been there talking to him based on the fact that his boss calls him during and is like, is she still here? It seems like she's been there for hours.
Yeah.
Like, at some point when you just busted in and started looking.
Yeah. When you busted and started looking. Also, why would front desk guy know where Vision is?
I don't know.
He's the most dangerous weapon in the world. But the guy at the desk, he knows the location of it. Yeah, here's my question. I don't have a good answer for that, so I'm going to move on to my question. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Why would Hayward lie about Wanda taking the body?
To set her up as a liar.
But she's already hexed like a full town. Like, do we need to motivate our people more to try and stop her? Like, she's basically abducted a town.
Kind of apparently, DJ, because think about Monica.
Yeah. I still don't know why. I still don't like, I was thinking about last week. I don't think we talked about it last week, but like when she's like, Wanda, I know what you're going through. It's like, yeah, but you kind of don't though, because she abducted a town.
I think that it's all about motivation for him and manipulation and controlling the information. Motivation, manipulation, information.
Yes. Boom.
It's the Asians for him.
It's all about the Asians for Hayward.
Some people are about those Asians.
They're about the Asians.
I think that's all that is. I think that he just wants to control the flow. And I don't think it's that well thought out or was that important to him. I think like evil for evil's sake and
cool. That's always my favorite motivation for an antagonist is just doing it for the lulls.
Motivation. It's another Asian.
Yeah, it's another Asian. So
just
now
another Asian.
I feel the need to do what you did earlier and point out that I do enjoy this show. I enjoy watching it. But from this point on, Roxy, all I have are questions, essentially, because Wanda gets into her car. There's a envelope. Vision bought him and Wanda a plot of land. Okay. Apparently, he had to have done this pre-Infinity War because that's the movie he died in. He put Wanda's name on the deed, but she's a wanted criminal at this point.
Yeah.
And then Wanda creates the hex and creates Vision. You helped me with how that might be a thing. But I'm so thrown off by the deed thing. Why the deed? Why Westview, New Jersey? Because the town looks sad as fuck. Like when she's driving in, like why of all the towns, Vision was like, this is it. This is going to remind her the most of Sokovia. Like this town is 2 seconds away from having its own insurrection. This will be perfect for her. Like why this town? How did he get her name on the deed when she's a wanted criminal? Like
they must have had conversations about it that we missed.
Cool.
And maybe we'll see. I don't know. I was thinking similarly, but I think that kind of what you said, maybe like childhood vibes, good vibes only, DJ.
Yeah, but it's not good vibes. It's bad vibes in Westview.
I know. Yet for him, it's not about the Asians. It's about the vibes.
It's about those vibes. And he doesn't know. He's just a dumb robot.
Yeah. And also, I do think that, and maybe this is me thinking way too much into it, but Vision makes weird decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you ever gotten a gift from somebody prior to your incredible wife when you were dating like people that were wrong for you, mm-hmm. and you get a gift from them and you're like, what?
What is this?
That was weird. And I'm not saying Wanda and Vision are wrong for each other. I'm just saying Vision, like even in the conversation that we watched in the room that I love so much, he says and does kind of like strange things. And so to him, I think that for whatever reason, this was just romantic or I don't know, is there a world in which you think Vision knew that she was going to do this?
I don't know how. I feel like on a more solidly structured show, all the pieces that instead of these pieces just functioning as feeling a backstory, they would build to this moment to where you go, this is what this means. This is what Westview means to Wanda. This is what this plot of land means to Wanda. This is what so in the conversation, even though we love the conversation with Wanda and Vision, that would lay the seeds for this moment. And I can't help but like when I watch the show, and then the other question is, so Westview is now basically disconnected from everything. There's other than the fact that Vision got Wanda this plot of land here. It's not that Wanda doesn't go to Westview because Agatha's there. Agatha either A, just happens to be there, or B, showed up because she knew what Wanda was doing. We still don't know who.
And then showed up late.
Yeah, and got in there without any of the problems that Monica had.
Well, she's magic, so
yeah. We still don't know who Jimmy Woo. He was looking for missing persons or whatever, like somebody under, I think it was witness protection. We still don't know who that is. So that person also
Dottie.
All these things just happen to be in Westview or like Westview adjacent.
Okay. Let me throw something out there for you.
Yeah.
What is the possibility that Doctor Strange is involved here and was like, of all of the possibilities in the future, and like somehow tipped Vision off to the fact that for some reason this is something he needed to do and buy her specifically this plot of land?
Would that be good?
I'm not pitching you what I think they should do. I'm pitching you any thoughts? We keep thinking about who's coming in. People keep thinking Doctor Strange is a possibility. I'm trying to figure out how would Vision have known. And Vision knew. I don't even think he would want her to do this. I know he wouldn't want her to do this.
Yeah.
But there is a world in which this is a greater evil, lesser evil for a greater good, I guess. I don't know what that greater good is yet.
For the children, which we don't even know. We had somebody in the comments last week. I questioned why Agatha would even go through the trouble of killing the dog. How does that serve her, quote unquote, master plan or whatever? And somebody pointed out it was to try and coax the children to aging up, which I actually thought was a pretty good. It doesn't apply now because I guess it was supposed to be maybe she says she was trying to coax Wanda out of whatever is going on in her brain. But then how do the children factor into this? Were they just an act?
We don't know yet. the children are still a big, of all of my question marks, the children are still a big question mark for me because for the children and because um last week you thought they were turned into animals, and then the basement, and then the strangling, and then I mean, there's just a lot going on there.
I liked Agatha's costume at the end.
Yeah.
Side note.
I feel you.
Yeah, just side note.
Throw it in there.
Yeah, so like SDS 2084 says, WandaVision question, if the twins' powers don't come from the Infinity Stone, does that mean mutants were in the MCU all along? I also wanted to pull up
and so
somebody mentioned
a
Deus Ex Machina situation. It's like, and that's what would be going back to your Doctor Strange thing, or let's go back to Mephisto. If it actually wasn't Vision that gave her plot of land, it was Mephisto, and he's been pulling everybody, and he's the one that lured Agatha there, and he's the one that did da, and he's the one. It's like that explains things, but I don't know that or in this case, what is that? A Diabolus Ex Machina? Like, as the devil did it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't know if that's interesting or compelling or like a good narrative. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
I don't know. Like, so Wanda saw the plot of land, threw a hissy fit, created an entire alternate reality. I guess at some point Agatha showed up.
Can you pause on that one for a second? Is that what happened? I was confused by that. I like rewound it like 4 times.
Yeah.
She's in there. She does the everything goes red and whatever. And then I was like, wait. And then she sees Vision in the sitcom, and then she's watching herself in the sitcom. And so that's what happened. She just was so emotional that's what happened.
Well, Roxy, you know how women are. You know how emotional
that's
they
a good
get.
point. This is why, DJ, we have to figure out how to make sure they cannot run for president.
Because they might create an entire alternate reality.
It might happen. We don't know.
And then it's interesting too that, you know, we see the Mind Stone magic come out of her, and so the implication I get is that this is kind of like she did bring Vision back to life. Obviously, the tease. The last thing we haven't talked about is the tease, the post credits tease, mid credits tease, is we see, since Hayward still has Vision's body, I guess they used the magic left on the drone she took down to jumpstart the body. And he's now Vision in his white form. I like this because that's the Vision I grew up with. I guess when I came up, I thought that was the original Vision, was him in his white form.
Would you call it comics accurate?
You know what? I would call it comic accurate, and it's nostalgic for me. So I did enjoy seeing that, even if the logic behind it is.
So are we gonna have a Vision v Vision?
We might have a Vision v Vision. I think whatever Wanda did to quote unquote resurrect Vision in her sitcom world will probably fuse with this Vision, and we will get a Vision back. They might pull a Gamora from spoilers for Infinity War and Endgame, where it's like it's Gamora but not our Gamora kind of a thing. But it's still Paul Bettany in the role. He's still part of the MCU, and we still get more Vision.
So can Vision, Wanda's Vision, Westview Vision, exist outside of Westview in this current form?
Wow, that does kind of make the whole thing where he tries to exit Westview super confusing.
Right.
I think, no, I don't know. And I don't like that I don't know. Not that you need to explain it, but I need to feel confident enough in the narrative you're spinning that you know where
the parameters are.
It honestly feels like when they wrote that episode, they're thinking it's Vision's body, and then when they went to this episode, but what if it wasn't? And then they just changed it, and they didn't bother going back and making sure it worked. You know what I mean? The whole I don't. And this is I'm not saying this is the case. But right at the moment, as a viewer, I don't feel confident that I could go to these writers and come to them with these questions. And I feel like if I asked each writer on the show, I'd probably get a different answer. And I don't think that's great.
Yeah. I feel you on that. Yeah. This was an amazing episode for Paul Bettany. I think that we got to see a softer, sweeter side. He's always sweet, but a more human side at some points. But I did find myself asking so many questions throughout about Vision. Especially when we see 2.0 Vision or whatever other Vision, I was just like, ooh, how's this gonna work?
Yeah.
How's this gonna work? And not how's this gonna work like it can't work. How's this gonna work as in like I genuinely don't know what they're gonna do here.
I think we're probably gonna get a big Vision v Vision showdown. Where did we leave Vision? Where is Vision right now? I guess he was on his way to Wanda. Probably gonna get big Vision v Vision. Probably gonna get Wanda versus Agatha, and I imagine if they're gonna do the classic thing where that's literally like the first like 15 to 20 minutes of the episode, and then the back half is just gonna be like, what's Jimmy doing? What's Monica doing? Where are we going? Everybody hugs, says goodbye. Doctor Strange shows up like, hey, you're in my movie now. I do feel like we might get whoever the engineer is. Maybe we'll finally get a reveal. Although it would be hilarious if
we don't.
They just move on and it's like,
and they're like, what? I told you my engineer was on the ridge.
Yeah.
Why did you guys all speculate what that meant? Yeah. Every time I mentioned my engineer, he was over there.
He was over there.
I'm glad to have a no-name engineer.
She just points, he's over there, and you just see off in the distance a silhouette, and the silhouette waves. Bye.
Yes or no? Are we going to have a bigger bad than Agatha on this show by its finale?
I don't think so. What do you think?
I feel legitimately 50-50.
Okay.
Because I think that the fans are going to be like, I mean, we thought Mephisto was coming.
Yeah.
So where is he? I think that them trying to fit that into one episode would be, them trying to fit a big bad into one episode would be tough.
Yeah.
Unless like he arrives at the same time as Doctor Strange. So second question, do you think Doctor Strange is in the next episode?
Yeah. I feel like that's where we're going. I don't know if that's the big cameo. I feel like, not to get into, I'm assuming that you heard about like Zack Snyder talking about like the quote unquote huge he didn't talk about this. The article that was speaking of talked about a mind blowing cameo, and then another article came out. It's like, actually we know who the cameo is, and it's common knowledge that character is showing up. I feel like it would be a similar thing if everybody's like, oh, there's a mind blowing cameo in the show, and it's Doctor Strange. It's like, well, that's not Luke Skywalker. No offense, that's not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's such a bummer because I don't like him. So like he's certainly not Luke Skywalker to me.
But I also don't think it could be something like a Reed Richards, because again, we would have had casting. There's no way that they were able to keep any casting news of that level under wraps. And it's not going to be, I know everybody was like, Magneto. It's like, this was the time. There wasn't even a hint, a wink at the idea that these weren't her real parents. And I'm not saying that won't happen down the road. Like if there was a WandaVision season 2 or whatever, that we might get into the fact that like actually her and Pietro were adopted. But like this was the moment that you could have at least,
that would have been wild,
flirted with that idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think anybody holding out hope for Magneto, don't Reed Richards or something like that. I wouldn't. Doctor Strange, I feel like you got a pretty good chance of. Mephisto, I kind of feel 50-50, but like you, Roxy, it's like if you were going to do that, your window kind of closed on that one.
Well, you needed to do it in the third act, and this would be late in the third act.
And also think about this, like we said, Wanda's the big bad. Actually, no, it's Agatha. Actually, no, it's Wanda. Actually, no, it's Mephisto. Like, come on.
Although season 2.
Yeah, now let me ask you this. Is there any chance that this ends on a cliffhanger that leads directly, like we think we're going to get closure next episode. What if it just ends on a big cliffhanger leading into Multiverse of Madness?
I think that's much more likely. It's been a long time since I felt so positive about a show and so weird about so many aspects of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my takeaway from this is like, I just like this character and I like what the MCU has built in general enough that it's making me really like this show. And then when I dissect it, I'm like,
yeah. We'll see. We've got one more episode to tie everything up.
Or not.
So we'll see. Let us know in the comments who you think this big, because apparently people have said that Pietro was not it. Evan Peters Pietro was not the big cameo. Speculate away who you think the big cameo is. Feel free to yell at us for not liking the show that you like. Feel free to keep liking the show. We're not.
We do like it.
We do like it. It's just
They like to yell.
They could,
They love us. DJ.
They do, and we appreciate you coming in and watching and yelling at us. Be nice in your yelling, and please like and subscribe and share. Even if you don't like it, share. Be like, hey, these guys over here, I don't agree with what they're saying. And we'll see y'all next week for the finale. We're all in it together. We'll see how it goes. Bye, everybody.